So today we're going to talk about parallel lines and transversals. So there's a lot of new vocabulary, so make sure that you get all your notes. The first thing we're going to do is talk about parallel lines, parallel planes, skew lines, and then we'll do an example. So make sure that you get all of that written out. So an important thing is parallel lines never intersect. They're coplanar and they just never intersect. But skew lines never intersect, but they're not coplanar. So one is going in one direction and one is going in another direction, but it's not in the same plane, so they will never intersect. And then parallel planes never intersect. So on your assignment, you're going to have to name some segments that are parallel, that are skew, some planes that are parallel. So let's look at an example together. So like for number 1, part A, it says name all the segments that are parallel to XT. So I'm going to highlight XT so you can see it. So we want all the segments going in that same direction. So like a YU would be an answer. ZV would be an answer. WS would be an answer. Okay, so you'll have to do the same thing for B and C. For part D, it says name a plane parallel to STU. So STU is really that whole plane, but remember you only have to name a plane with 3 letters. So that's that whole plane. So if I want a plane that's parallel to that, I would look at that plane. So I could name it WXY. I could even name it WXYZ, it doesn't matter. So you'll do the same thing for E. For F, we're naming all the segments skew. So skew is in a different direction, different plane, different direction. Okay, so let's look at SW. So if I want a different plane going in a different direction, I could do YX. I could do UT. Now I could not do YU because it's going in the same direction. So you want different plane, different direction. So I could do ZY and VU because they're in different planes going in a different direction. So one's going this way and then the others are this way. So hopefully that helps with those. You'll have to do the same thing for part G. And then you're going to describe as parallel intersecting or skew. So like A says AB and BC. So if I look at AB and BC, they actually intersect right there. So I would say intersect. So if they have a letter in common, they intersect. Let's see. If I look at plane ABC and ABF, ABC is that plane, and then ABF is that side plane. They would intersect at AB, so I would say intersect. Okay, let's talk about the next section of notes. So make sure that you get all of those notes written down. So I have a picture of it in your Google Classroom, so make sure you get all of your notes written down. Let's talk about it. So if you have 2 lines that are coplanar and then another line that intersects it, that is called a transversal. So that would be my transversal. That would be my transversal. So I've got 2 lines and then a line that just intersects it. So that's going to create angles. There's going to be angles in between the lines, which would be interior angles, and then angles on the outside, which would make exterior angles. So there's interior angles and exterior angles. So we're going to have all kinds of new angles formed. So I hope you can tell that angles 3, 4, 5, and 6 would be interior. They're in between the lines. 1, 2, 7, and 8 would be exterior. They're outside the lines. So there's all kinds of new angles that we're going to learn about. There's alternate interior angles, which that would be interior, but they alternate over that diagonal. So 3 and 6, so they have to alternate diagonally. They can't be next to each other because that's a linear pair. So 3 and 6 would be alternate interior. 4 and 5 would be alternate interior. Then we have alternate exterior, so they're outside the lines, but they still alternate, like 1 and 8 and 2 and 7. Then we have, let's see, I think I have them. Maybe I don't. Then we have same side interior, so same side of the transversal, 4 and 6, or 3 and 5. We also have same side exterior, 1 and 7, 2 and 8. And then we have corresponding angles. So corresponding angles has 1 exterior, 1 interior, and it always jumps over an angle. So like 1 and 5, 3 and 7, 2 and 6, 4 and 8. So those are all the new angles. But don't forget about like vertical angles and linear pair and all that, because we're still going to use all of that. So I go through corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior. Oh, same side interior and exterior is also sometimes called consecutive. So if you see the word consecutive, it's the same thing. Okay, so on the assignment, you're going to have to decide. So you're going to look at these different things. First, like number 3, I would look and I would say, okay, are they interior, are they in between the lines, or are they exterior? So on this one, I hope you can tell that they are interior. They're in between the lines. And then I ask myself, are they on the same side of the transversal, or do they alternate over the transversal? So this one alternates over the transversal, so it would be alternate interior angles. I just put ALT for alternate and then INT for interior. So then like on number 4, here's my 2 lines. So notice they're outside the 2 lines. So those would be exterior angles. Do they alternate over the transversal, or are they on the same side? Well, they're on the same side. So that would be same side exterior angles. And then, like if you look at number 5, here's my 2 lines. Notice 1 angle's interior between the lines and 1 angle's exterior outside the lines. So if you have 1 interior and 1 exterior, that is called corresponding angles. So that's how you do that section. So on this one, you're going to name the transversal. So the transversal is that line that intersects. So that line would be line L. That would be the transversal. And then you have to name all the corresponding angles, all the alternate interior angles, alternate exterior, consecutive interior, consecutive exterior. So like for example, the corresponding angles are the ones that have 1 interior, 1 exterior. So like 1 and 3. So I would say angle 1 and angle 3, comma. And then 2 and 4. And then 5 and 7. And then 6 and 8. So that little angle sign, put the angle sign in front of the numbers. And then you name all the others. For number 10, you're naming the transversal. So there's more than 1 line. There's several lines. So this is how I do this part. So if I look at angle 1 and angle 5, I trace angle 1, and then I trace angle 5. Which line did I trace twice? So angle 1 is made up of line R and line P. Angle 5 is made up of line R and line Q. So R was the one that I went over twice. That is the transversal. So I'll do one more of those. So let's look at 7 and 14. So if I look at angle 7, 7 is angle or line S and line Q. 14 is line R and line Q. So Q is the one I did twice. That is the transversal. Okay, and then the last section, you are just going to name what kind of angles they are. So like if I look at 4 and 7, so angle 4 and angle 7. So that is made up of this line and this line, and 7 is made up of this line and this line. So S would be my transversal, and those would be my two lines. So they are in between the lines, which makes them interior, and they're on the same side of the transversal. So that would be same side interior, or consecutive interior is another name for that. So if I look at 2 and 11, so angle 2 is line P and line R, and angle 11 is line S and line P. So P has to be my transversal, and these are my two lines. So the angles are on the outside of the two lines, and they alternate over the transversal, so that's alternate exterior angles. Okay, if you need help with any of this, you can always come in on a Monday to get extra help.